Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you about how to unlock the character Bunny, and that is just by playing the game. But also I want to talk about her. Is she worth playing? Is she worth researching, even though it's relatively free to actually unlock her? I believe that early game she's definitely worth unlocking, but there's a few tips I want to give to help out the ease of use with this character. Now, Bunny is unlocked after the tutorial, so basically you're going to go through to the very first area. You're going to do a whole bunch of missions, and those missions that are highlighted with a pink icon will lead you to getting each item that you need of the 4 items to research Bunny and use her. Well, say 3 of them actually, not 4 of them. Eventually, when you're going through the tutorial, you'll get to the home base Albion. You'll know you're here because everyone else is here too. There'll be loads of people running around. This is your home base for a lot of different things, but here you can also research your descendants down the line in the future. They require a lot of work and a lot of materials and a lot of coin, but for Bunny, because you're going through the tutorial, it's fairly easy to get. So you'll go through the first area, you do a whole bunch of missions, get a whole bunch of items, and then when you get to Albion, you'll get pushed towards doing a void intercept mission. This is to get the last item for Bunny, which I think is the blueprints. You go into this and you fight a big boss in a huge arena. Very challenging if you're solo. When there's 2 or 3 people, it's a little bit easier. But basically, you just aim for the weak spots, do as much damage as you can, grapple onto them, give them a few punches until you take the enemy down. Once you take the enemy down, there will be like a little reconstruction pillar that pops up. You want to use that and select the Bunny one to create, because you can create other things to create the Bunny one, because you can only create one. Once you've done this, you have all the things that you need for Bunny. Go back to Albion, run down to the right hand side, go to the research person. It will cost you all the materials that you've collected plus 400,000 coins, and you will get her in like 30 seconds, the research time. Now, all other descendants that you're going to get are going to be like 12 hours research time, as well as a hell of a lot more materials. So Bunny is kind of a gimme. You will get Bunny, but is she worth actually getting? That's the question. That's what I wanted to answer. So for ease of use and convenience in the early game, 100% the best character, solely because she can run really fast. Now, you're going around these areas where there's a lot of quests and stuff to do. You're running backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. Her speed running is intrinsic to her build, so you want to be using her running as much as possible. And it's the ability speed of light. Always moves by sprinting and increases sprint speed. As you are running around, traveling over a certain amount of distance, you will build up electricity and store it within your body. This will then power up your other abilities, so there is no reason to not be using this, especially when you want to get around the map really quickly. So I believe that this is the best convenient character early on, but she's probably going to drop off towards the end. Even though she does have quite a big damaging move, I feel like there's going to be other descendants which are just better for most end game stuff. But for early game, definitely worth it. So speed of light also intrinsically works with lightning emission, which basically just has a little AoE around you of chain lightning that just keeps pulsating. Anyone who gets trapped in this area gets hit really hard. The more electricity you have, the more damage it does to them. And obviously with your build and stuff that you're equipping as well, it will be even more damage. This to me is her kind of cycle of attacking. You don't even need to use your gun for a lot of the smaller enemies. You just run around building up lightning and then use this move, the lightning emission, to just wipe out groups of enemies. You can also then throw in her basic attack, the thrill bomb, and it just basically throws up a little bomb and it does like one little short shock to enemies around. So if you're running around and the chain lightnings hit a few enemies and they've got low health, you pop this and it just finishes them off. But it is just her basic attack. Then her big damaging move, which we were talking about, is called maximum power. You basically just discharge a whole big massive electric beam. The more electricity you have on your bar, the more you've collected, the longer it will last. So you can do a lot of damage to a lot of enemies, and that's why you're constantly going to be running around. Now, one of the tips I wanted to give for Bunny, and I highly suggest anybody does this, is that especially on controller and console, to go to the options and put up the X-axis sensitivity as high as you need it to be. But as you start the game, especially on controller, I think it's at 50. When you're running with her, the turn radius at a low sensitivity is horrific, and you just can't utilize the running around and doing damage to enemies. So put up the sensitivity for that. And then I'd also turn down the aim sensitivity for the X-axis too, because sometimes it just feels like it overshoots. But with Bunny, when you're running around super quick, it just feels really awkward when you go to aim down sight and your gun just flies over to the side. Also as well, if you're going to use Bunny, try not to have any aim down sight weapons because you're going to be running a lot getting on top of people. Have a handgun for the little sidearm kind of like full auto close range guns, or something like a submachine gun. But any weapons that you need to use, you need to use. So I would turn down the aiming sensitivity because it can be quite disorienting when you go to aim down sight after running around so much. But that is the best tip for me, is to put up her sensitivity on her x-axis when you're not aiming down sight, so you can actually take advantage of her speed and movements. And that's it, just a few tips, my thoughts on Bunny, how to unlock her. Definitely worth using early on, unless you like someone like Ajax, who's very, very popular for the huge amount of defense and attacks that he can do. But all in all, I just genuinely think Bunny is a really good early game character, just for convenience. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Thank you for watching. I've been Easy. Now you guys have been awesome.